say it's time adults admit they're just overgrown kids. That's true. For years, adults have been hiding behind their children the fact that they still enjoy playing with toys. And of course, you've always heard the saying that adults' toys just get bigger. And that's very true too. But I also think there's quite a few parents that enjoy playing with the toys just as much as the children do. I remember when I used to work in the nursery one time, whenever the kids were taking naps or, there's a little downtime, I'd play with the baby toys. Just give me something to do. Okay, what does this do? Press this button, it plays music. Slide that up there, a picture of a ladybug, and I just play with it because pass the time and it would entertain. It would give you something to do. So, and I believe, of course, as you grow older, some toys you'll lose interest in, but then some you will not. For me, I'm a huge collector of Playmobiles. I love the little things to pieces. They're like my pets. And of course, we use them in animation, I use them in stories, all kind of uses for them in the adult world. And plus, we have to have adults that love toys, because then if we didn't, who would be the toy makers? Who would be the dreamers? Who would invent toys for kids? Being a toy maker would be a fun job. So one of these days, I'll get around to it. But anyway, and yes, there's dollhouse miniature magazines. Well, those are more fine artists. They aren't as... Well, there's some people that make miniatures out of, like, trash. But I'm not quite that. I'm not quite that level, but I'm not a fine artist either. We'll get to that someday. But, see, literally, whenever I was in college, I had a couple of bad roommates that were trying to get me declared nuts because I like dollhouse miniatures and Playmobiles. Okay? There's a couple of girls that were in denial. So, yes. That was a bad experience. I mean, seriously, I was like showing them the books of dollhouse miniatures. I'm like, yes, this is a real hobby. This is something people do. But see, those girls are an example of adults in denial of their love for toys. They think that they have to develop a hobby of collecting tea bags or something, just to be thought of as a good adult. So no. Some adults want to be uppity and pretend they don't like toys, but honest adults would admit they like them. And these days, I think a lot more barriers have been broken for adults to enjoy their toys in real life. Just think of all the people who have massive Lego collections, people of all ages. And I think that, and there's men that have miniature trains. I don't think they really need to hide behind their sons anymore. They just like model trains. It's a hobby. Things like that. I don't think you need to hide behind the fact that you just like to play with toys. You do. And I'm a big proponent of that. I'll bet a lot of the misery in the world is because people felt they had to give up their toys, so they become drunkards or something because they're depressed with life. Life disappoints them. And they've lost their fresh outlook. I firmly believe toys are healthy. They're the kind of thing that help you mentally relax. They help you restore your factory settings, reduce stress. I mean, even lots of times I like to use children's craft kits to help me learn a basic craft, like weaving or, the knitting. And I said, my dad, he read certain books. Some adult versions of classics are too hard. Sometimes he would get children's versions of the classics, and they would be a lot easier to understand. So there's really is a cross of knowledge. Toys and children's versions of things are really for anybody of all ages. And I actively promote toy playing. Lots of times I buy some of my adult friends novelties, fun games, even toys, because it's good for the mind and it's good for the soul to be a lover of toys. Now you'll say most adults just don't have time to play with toys, that's why they give them up. And that may be true. But anyway, I am going to argue against people who give them up for just being snobbish and say, oh, I'm an adult, I cannot play with toys, I cannot touch a toy. None of that. None of that. We're all children at heart, and we still love toys. It makes life happier and cheerfuler. And I believe it's good for our mental health as well. Alrighty. What do you think about toys? Should the adults come out of the closet and admit they're playing with them and that they're not just their children? Comment below. Let's get some adults to admit that they play with toys. Take care.